tube. Just switch this one out. Oh, actually, is that the correct one? That is not. Just get tube. My name is Nial McGaughey. I do hovercraft, amps, pedals. I do some custom motorcycles and do other design work and whatever the heck grabs my fancy. An Australian person would probably describe it as mixed business. What you ride is an expression of who you are, your personal preferences. It's an important decision because, you know, if you do something unsafe in the design or build or whatever of your motorcycle, it's going to have a direct effect on you. So the feedback loop is pretty cool. Well, motorcycles and music are a little bit socially reprehensible. Motorcycles and rock and roll are both very loud. It attracts a certain kind of person to do it, and a certain kind of person that likes to listen to it or be a part of it, participate in it. You know, it takes a certain kind of person to get into a sweaty, disgusting smelling tour van and go play rock and roll to people in a dark club, and it takes the same kind of person to throw a leg over something that can go 190 plus miles an hour very, very easily. You're definitely cut from a different cloth. Yeah, there's definitely a foundation that you can't really paint too far outside the lines, or it doesn't make sense. The past has created these wonderful templates, iconic guidelines, if you will, that you can use to go forward. It's like design limitations or a design spec where it's got to do this, it's got to do that, whatever that is, and you're able to completely reinterpret as you see fit. That's one of my goals, is to inspire other creative people to use this thing that I do to create new sounds and new music. So my hope is to, you know, bring it up to a new level that hasn't been seen before or heard before, really. It's nice to see creativity within certain forms make you think about things in a completely different way. A style is entrenched, and yet somebody pushes things or shifts them around and gets people to think in a different way or look at things in a new light. I mean, that's art. That's inspiring. It wakes people up, and it touches them emotionally, which is, I think, is a really cool thing. I like gear that is multifunctional, a Swiss Army knife, if you will. I wanted a pedal that could do multiple things. I would see guitar players with 5 different distortion pedals just to simply get a little bit different sounds. I wanted to create a pedal that was distilled down to the most core tones that most guitar players are after. A good analog, smooth sounding tone, an aggressive metal sound, and just nasty, gnarly sounding fuzz. And I designed it in one of these pedals called the Laguna Sunride, and it's a 3-channel. And I wanted simple controls. I didn't want the thing to look like a control surface of a 747 or something like that, where people get confused. Sonic guitar tones for distortion is the Marshall sound, which is it can be also described as the British distortion or crunch tone. The Marshall Plexi or the early metal panel JMP or JTM amplifiers. And then I wanted a fuzz sound that sounded like the amp was going to explode, something like the Melvins or some of the hairier, scarier versions of bands like Fu Manchu. You know, turn it on and you want to play your guitar when you hear this thing kick on. I like selling directly to consumers. There are companies that make, one thing and make a squillion of them and stick them in every store everywhere. That to me is kind of boring. Musicians are not the same person depending upon not just the music they kind of play, but the kind of people that they are. these amps I build, everything I build is unique and tailored, hopefully, to the end user, and they make them feel special because it's made for them, and that doesn't scale. That doesn't scale commercially. I hope that everything I make is a treasured item that they keep forever. That to me is environmentally sound, not just economically sound. There's nothing worse than buying stuff that you regret and then it ends up, some of it thrown in the trash, especially if it breaks or it doesn't do it for you. I want the stuff that I do to be kept around for generations. There's nothing better than seeing a well-made product that stood the test of time and it's still functional, still good, still relevant. Anything that's made with good design is timeless. I mean, look at the early stuff from Braun in the 60s and 70s that Dieter Rams made. It still works. It's still beautiful. The heft when you touch it, that's just timeless.